Right.
Those ideas aren't giving you any lift. They're just supplanting themselves in their conscious and almost making them confused.
Mm.
The chaos that happened because of the inertia, because they're not moving, now becomes the part of the resistance that you have to kind of get over. So, in tools, I would say one, especially in a family, is the empathy of knowing already that this is going to happen
Yeah.
and not being angry with them because they don't immediately adhere to what you would consider to be, or I would consider to be, practical wisdom. I know this to be true. Please just listen to me. And we wish that it could be received that simply, but it's just not.
I
It's
mean,
just not.
and I think that goes to to what I was trying to articulate a little while ago, where if we know that there is a natural inertia that is that's going to be resisting us, just like they created this. They created a turbo boost, or they created horsepower, and they created like all of these things, the wings to cut through the air, like all of those things. What could we add so that we could get through the inertia with 50% and not 100% gone, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
100% gone makes it like, man, I'm giving up on these knuckleheads.
Right, right, 100%. That's partially where I say empathy is one. I think empathy is huge. I think and most people without emotional, and sometimes I hate using these tag words that I use. People are always using throwing around now. The emotional intelligence, which is real, but I just know people just use it in so many different unrelated ways just to kind of prove a point. But for the case of this conversation, the emotional intelligence to be empathetic.
Yeah.
When a person doesn't have it, it becomes that same thing where you reach 100% and you burn out because you don't have the ability to empathize and say, I understand. I can empathize why you may be challenged with accepting this wisdom.
Yeah.
I can understand. I can empathize with the fact that you're being influenced by peers, TV, social media, and a million other things that are actually more influential than I am, probably. You know, and being able to accept that, and I think that's a hard thing for a parent, a family member, for you to accept that from your niece, your nephew, anybody, when you feel like you know you, and not even when you feel. Sometimes we have to admit we know we're right. And I don't want people to shy away from that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we shy away from feel like, people label you as you know everything. Sometimes we do know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we just would love for people to accept that we know it. But again, where they are and the resistance that they're giving you is just a part of what was necessary to get them from a point of standing still to a point of moving in that wisdom and applying that wisdom.
See, I agree with you to a certain extent. And I think that I think that just like we've talked about the spiritual bypass, I think that there's a level of bypass that is here as well. Because if we use the principle just as like all the other things, like what would be the horsepower that allows us to get through to that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the 50% of gas being burnt could be like how much effort that it requires from us to be able to get through. So it kind of goes into what do I have to do and the gas that I have to burn to be able to get to that side so that my kids could hear from me and be able to receive from me, right? So I think that and one of the things that I believe takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of gas to be able to try to get through is communication. It takes the most gas, just clarifying what we're talking about, or how they receive information, because communication isn't just words. And so, kind of like going through the process of understanding their process, how they function, how they communicate. And you and I have talked about this before, where I give the example of sales, right? Like, and in this sales, when it comes to your kids, is it a you didn't get the lead, so you give up and you move on to another contract? But the thing is, we follow up. We follow up. We go practice. We go do role plays. So that's like all of the gas being burnt and practicing how to communicate to a seller to get a contract. And in the same way, I think that for us, um, when our kid don't hear right now, I don't think it's a them problem. I think it's a us problem. I think that this is the gas that we have to burn to learn. At least communication is one, but I do think that this is the gas that we need to burn to learn to understand how would they receive from us so that we could get past inertia, because once we get that, it's smooth sailing. Once we get that, we're good. Like we're just like cruising, right? We don't need that amount of horsepower to continue on. What's your
Right.
thoughts on that?
I agree. I think that communication, especially when we're talking about nonverbal communication, which is probably a lot, well, not even probably, it is a lot larger of the percentage that you use to understand and communicate with a person, um, meaning your actions, your tones, things of that nature, right? So I would say you are 100% right. That 50% is on us to give. That is not on them to give into. That is for us to give into them. I think that this is where part comes with the intelligence of the spirit to a certain degree at this point now, right? Because now we move into a space where we communicate by being. We communicate. If we understand that the words alone are not going to move the needle, then the communication has to be based in the doing. And the doing comes from the being, right? Who we are, how we represent, how we stand up in front of them speaks louder than the words. So that's our 50%. Our 50% of the 100% of gas that has to be used in order to get past inertia has to come from us being who we are trying to create in them or in anyone that we're trying to communicate with. Because people receive things, I believe, through, like you said, levels of communication that go beyond just your words. Because you can easily tell somebody, hey, this is what you got to do to become successful. But if they don't see success in your behavior, the communication falls dead.
Right.
And this is where you wind up wasting an extra 50% of your availability or your capacity to communicate what's necessary for that person to move forward. So I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. I think that communication would definitely be a huge one, a huge one. But I think the communication probably needs to just be broken up into what kinds of communication, so that it's clear to everyone that when this is for me, and you could clarify if it is, I'm not just talking about communication in terms of words, because that wouldn't be enough to move the needle. I'm talking about clarification in terms of who you are.
How do you define who you are? Like, what do you mean by that?
When I say who you are, I mean like who you're being, who your actions dictate who you are. So your actions are a functionality of your nature,
Right.
right? So who you are is going to be because that is your nature. It's going to show up. So if you are professing to your family members, wife, son, children, whatever, it doesn't matter, and you're saying, hey, I think we need to, treat each other, or we need to do something that's going to be elevated. We're going to need to learn how to invest. We're going to need to learn how to use money and be smart with our money. You have to be smart with money. You
Mm-hmm.
have to exemplify what that means and what that looks like. They have to see you not only going through the process of that, but being that at the same time, so that this way they can receive that message. But
Yeah.
it's only because you are that message,
Yeah.
not what you're saying.
Yeah.
You are the message.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%, because everything, most education is learned from picking up from somebody else's actions, not from what is being told, right? And so if it is that our kids is around us, they learn more from what we do than what we say, like way more. And so 100% it does. So this entire being piece, I don't think that most people even understand the principle of it, to see or to realize, like, oh man, my kid is actually following me.
100%.
But then, because we're so blinded, we we get frustrated, not realizing that the kid is a reflection of you. I had a client literally yesterday where his son, he was complaining that his son like goes around in circles and in circles, like smart talk kind of thing. And so I asked him, I'm like, is it possible that this is something that he got from you? And he was like, oh, 100%. So I'm like, so are we mad, or like what are we doing? Like like you're bringing it up to me. Are you bringing it up because you're mad? Like he's like, yeah, I'm mad. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Because if he's learning by following you, now you got to stop.
That simple, right?
You can't expect them to try to implement and be the bigger person when you're the parent.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's one of those things, bro, and this is the inertia. This is the inertia, because for him to now have an impact on his son, he has to go through change himself. That's going to be hard.
That's that 50%.
The resistance. Yes. Yes, the resistance is going to kick in. Inertia is going to just pop up and resist all of the change that he has to make to be able to get his son to even have a different perspective and learn different things. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, I really don't think that people, like you just using your client as an example, right? He comes to you and complains about the son, but had you not brought that to light to him, and I don't even know if he still gets it, but had you not brought that to light, he would have only been complaining about his son, and he would have just kept fighting and burning through the available capacity he has for change.
Yes.
And it would have just been a constant, and then he would have internalized it as the resistance is real, like the fight is real, when it's really not. It's really just you accepting that there is something that you must do, and the real him coming to you should have been, I'm coming to you, brother, because I need to change. And forget about my son. We ain't got to talk about him yet. Because I can't talk about my son until I make the change first.
And he's willing to do that, which is great. It's really beautiful, because he is willing to do that. But there's a lot of patterns. You know, we talk about patterns a lot in with the app that we have, Mio, that's helping other people break their patterns and the things that they're unaware of.
Sure.
Bro, 95% of what we do is done by our subconscious mind. So like when we drive, we don't have the ability, or we do, but you don't remember, hey, I'm going to press the accelerator, I'm going to press the brake, I'm going to press, like nobody thinks about that with their conscious mind. So
Right.
there's
Right.
similarly there's many other patterns with of that what that we do that's being done automatically that we are just not aware that we do it. So think
Right.
about that.
We give you an example. It's crazy. I just had this conversation with a really, really highly intelligent bro who I love and respect. And he and I got into a discussion the other day. I don't know if you'll ever watch this, but he and I got into a discussion the other day about AI. And he's a anti AI guy. He just doesn't, which is strange to me because he uses it because he's in IT, right? But he hates it. He hates AI. Oh, it's going to destroy humanity. It's going to do this, blah blah blah. So we having a discussion, and I'm talking to him. So just to show you, the funny how it correlates to what you're just saying. I'm talking to him in these patterns, and I'm talking to him, and I'm consciously saying to myself, because he and I get into very heated debates. Like I love debating when we just very highly intelligent. We just go up, we just go get into it. But I'm saying to myself mentally, I'm not going to get in, and I'm not going to feed into the patterns that we usually do. And this is, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is just, this is not a shameless plug. This is the power of Mio.
Mm-hmm.
This is the power of the Mind Insurance Pattern Interrupter Coaching Program that we've developed. I literally said, I'm going to watch the pattern and not give into it. So we start talking. Of course, he gets into his rant. He's going. And I said, normally I would interrupt him, right? I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let him just rant. He ran for 10 minutes straight. I start talking to rebut or to just give him my side of an opinion. Well, he butts in again. So we get it going. We keep going. I keep doing it, but I'm consciously making note of when he's doing it. He keeps doing it to me. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, brother, please just let me land my thought, and then you could, you go back on your, on your soliloquy. Just let me. All right, Nate. All right, go. I start talking. Boom, he can't. So eventually, we start off. Eventually, I lose my pattern break, right?
Yeah.
So we start arguing.
Yeah.
So we get into arguing. But then in the argument, I tell him, brother, this is you because you do not look at the pattern of what you're doing. And that's when the whole conversation came down. Boom.
Mm.
What do you mean? I said, brother, I'm telling you, I sat here consciously listening and paying attention to not fall into patterns with you. I watched you do it to me over and over again. And if you just remember, all I kept asking you was, brother, let me finish my thought. Please stop interrupting me. Let me finish my thought. But you couldn't, not because you were being malicious, not because you were being disrespectful, not because you don't know that me and you have highly intelligent conversations. It's because you have a pattern.
Just couldn't help it.
That's it.
Just couldn't
Simple.
help it. Yeah.
You have a pattern that you cannot identify.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to him, imagine what we could accomplish in a conversation if you identified your patterns and stopped them. And he just said, man, yo, bro, this is how I talk to my family.
Sheesh.
This is how, right? This is what he's like, and his family is very, very politically and religiously astute. So he has these challenging conversations in his family dynamic. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about not just the nucleus, but his family.
Yeah.
They get together and have big events and they'll just argue and they carry on the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, that's how I carry on with my family. And I said, well, just imagine what you're not being able to build on and get across because of the resistance, because the patterns have not been identified.
Yeah.
You're going to get past that. And how many areas in your life are being affected because you're not doing that? And it was like, wow, okay. Everything between us at that moment just calmed down because at this point, you got to sit back and we got to think.
Yeah.
But I told him, yo, bro, I've been a part of this with you, man. We've been, I mean, exaggerating. We've been arguing for about 13 years, me and this dude. Like, battling. I don't care what the topic is, religion, philosophy, politics. And I just was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And it's thanks to
Mio,
bro. Yeah, the Mind Insurance Program, man. Doing that method every day of checking my patterns made me really say that. And now, this is what probably prompted the thought this morning, which is say, I had to accept something that resistance is there, but I don't have to look at it as resistance. Because we don't, like you said, we don't look at the pedal that we push down on as resistance.
Mm-hmm.
We just look at it as a necessary thing to move the car forward.
Here's
And then we do it, like you said, subconsciously. We don't
Yep.
even think about it. So it doesn't even become a resistance mechanism in the brain.
here's an interesting thing that you might need to watch and be aware of, because he's a highly intelligent person, but here's a possibility, right? A possibility is that he doesn't love y'all's conversation anymore because it doesn't give him that level of excitement, the all of the whatever, not cholesterol, but that whatever you get from argument,
Yeah.
the adrenaline,
That rush.
the rush. And
Mhm.
and it was the same thing I told my client yesterday. I said, could you imagine a home where you stop responding to your son like that, he stops responding to his mother like that, and then, like, bro, you wouldn't even, your home would absolutely, you wouldn't even be able to recognize it.
That's big.
I said, and the only person that doesn't have an issue in your home is your daughter. So your daughter is used to all of this arguing going on. This is normal for her, and she's in homeostasis with arguments. What's gonna happen when everybody stops arguing? Watch out for her. She may go off the cliff and go do something else. She may start acting up. She's like, I'm not used to this.
Right. I'm not used to peace.
I'm not used to peace, bro.
Absolutely.
Because
100%.
you get, this now becomes your level of normal, where if it's disruption, if it's like, that's your new level of normal. It's the pattern that you get so used to that governs everything that you do. And I told him, I'm like, bro, you got to understand that your change right now is going to impact your entire family. And everybody is going to have to get used to this new normal. And these are things that you have to be able to navigate and not retreat, because the resistance is going to come from every single member of your family. Not just you and your wife. It's going to come from your son. It's going to come from your daughter. And the man that you're becoming, that vision of that man, you got to be able to clearly articulate, each one of these pillars is going to need a different version of me. How am I going to respond when they're rebuttaling and giving me resistance? And that's the map I had to take him through yesterday, getting him prepared for the journey that he's going on.
That's a heavy one. You think about it, like you said, you're going to he's going to have to try to change their normal. He's going to have to change their normal, because their normal currently is what it is based on,
It is,
like you said, his current, who he currently is. So
Yep.
he has to change their normal, which, like you said, automatic resistance.
Automatic.
What we perceive as resistance. Yeah, automatic. He's gonna. But again, resistance can be beautiful, because the same way resistance happens for a flower, the flower is still beautiful. The result after coming through the resistance is the beauty of nature.
But here's my pushback to that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You are correct, but why not plan? This is like, why not get the horsepower to get past inertia, right? Like, you know it. So these are the things that I mean, that inertia does not have to be that difficult if you plan for it. You see what I'm saying? Like, what are the accessories that you're gonna have so that you can get past all of this resistance? Communication is one, but if he prepares and takes his entire family on this journey with him, because if he grows alone, then it's gonna be a problem. Everybody's gonna resist. But if,
what's crazy?
Talk to
Nisha
me.
just said it. Nisha in the thing just said this. A person will only receive when they're ready.
They would.
Only receive when they're ready. So he may not have had the openness to or the openness to the knowledge that would have prepared him earlier to
No.
set it up so that this wasn't as hard as it's going to be now. And I think that's really the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge is probably the biggest reason why we have to face things in our later.
It is, and bro, unfortunately, pain is what expedites this. Pain. The level of pain that he is
100%.
in and that is going on in the family unit is what has brought the entire family to a standstill right now. The entire family is at a standstill where he has invited them to come on the journey by asking them to send me things about him that he could improve on. And
Yo,
so
why did that just bother me, bro? Like, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but yo, why did that just bother me? Like, why did I don't say bother me? That's not the right word.
talk
Why
let's
did I
talk
just feel emotional? Why did I just feel emotional just now?
talk let's talk it through. What you mean by that?
I was weird, bro. Like, I really just felt. I felt like it felt like man, like, you know how they say, like, you have a connection to something,
Yeah.
and you feel like it's this ethereal connection to something.
Mm-hmm.
When you were describing it, it literally felt it in my stomach just now. Like, I
What?
literally just felt what you were saying as if it was me, and I felt it in my stomach.
Uh.
Like, for real, I really just felt it was really weird just now, man. That was really weird. It's
Now,
interesting.
I mean, I feel like it's something that we should talk through. I mean, what part of what I said? Because what could be true is that, yeah. What part of what I said?
I would say when you were just describing him having the chaos within his family and needing to make this change, and it's going to be this difficult process that has to happen in him changing himself and having to change the opinions and ideas and the view of others of himself. I think when you was describing that in context, the whole context of it, so it wasn't one word or one sentence. It was the context of you describing his journey. That's what it was. As you were describing his journey, I felt it sit in my stomach.
Was it resistance or was it like an agreement? Like, that's it, or was it like?
No, it was an agreement. It was an agreement. I felt it like it's as if that's I can totally identify with the struggle that he's having.
Sure.
I can totally identify with the struggle that he's going to have
Mm-hmm.
to get through and to break through. That is a battle that I don't wish on anyone.
Nah.
You
Nah.
know, that's a tough battle, man. And I thought about it that, from my own personal experiences and current experiences in certain parts of my life, I know that emotion, because that's all emotion. That has nothing to do with physical. Physical resistance, men, we take that on. Boom, we run through some head first, right? We punch through, we bleed, we cut, it's cool. Emotionally, though, that's a heavy lift.
Bro,
A heavy lift.
it really is, man. It really is. And I think like men, and this is why this is a agitation for me, and one that I 100% like would need to focus on. Almost like a greater percent of my focus will need to be on this topic, especially when it comes to men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The problem is men treat our relationships and our emotions like how a woman treats a car. A woman would get in a car and drive and see all of the lights on the dashboard, right? It's like a damn Christmas tree. And they're like, well, the car drives, so they drive it, right? Men treat our relationships the same way. We're like, she's not complaining. They're not doing anything. Nothing's wrong. We're still functional. We're still getting along. Until boom, the engine said F you.
Right. Right.
The the
Yes, we do.
the, the tranny just stopped. Boom, done.
Agree. I agree. We wait till it breaks down.
Till it's broken.
Yeah,
Till it's
for sure.
broken.
Why do you
And
think that is? Why do you think we wait until it breaks down?
bro, because ah, give me the wisdom on this. I think that for men, we're so there. I have multiple reasons, right? Like from not being taught and how we grew up, and then just the ideology of what it means to be an American man or just a man, period, right? Like Captain America type of stud guy, like all of those things are true. Like all of those things are true,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately the root is that my belief is that we're so programmed, bro, to resist and to just focus on work and to be a provider that we do not take into consideration everything else. So be a provider, protector, all of the things, right? But we always forget, to me, what I've seen, the men that I've coached, we always forget partner.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how to partner with our spouses. And in partnership, we don't know what it's like to be a provider, even with emotional help, emotional reliance. We bury our feelings in our work, and even from the topic of sex, like most men don't, and we kind of spoke about this earlier in another live. Most men don't even understand the triggers of why they want to have sex, not realizing that it might be tied to frustration at work, and now we're not communicating, and we just need the woman to have sex. We just need to get it off, versus even being able to articulate how we're feeling to get it off.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's you said it though. That's one good reason is we do not process emotions in a healthy way. And I think, and I hate to lay blame, but I will lay some, is that we've been programmed not to be emotional. We have been programmed to remove emotion from it. Because you know how I know we've all heard that saying before. You remove emotion from it.
Yeah.
Remove the emotions from it. But in removing the emotions from it, you're removing the energy from it.
Mm.
Because the emotion is the energy in it that is motioning it, that's moving it forward, that is signaling something. You're taking out the actual force that is communicating through the resistance, because energy is always moving through some level of resistance. Whoa. Energy is always moving through some level of resistance. And when you telling somebody remove the energy that goes through the resistance to get you out of inertia, wow, then you're removing their ability to actually process and get to the point of momentum, which is what
Yeah.
the plane had. Wow. To that piece, bro. Yeah, that's a heavy piece of the puzzle. The heavy piece of the puzzle. Men don't deal with the emotions until they break down. And now the pain becomes chaos
Mm-hmm.
and stagnation because you don't even know how to function out of the pain because what you're doing is you're stuck in the mud with wheels spinning in the mud and you're not moving anywhere.
Right.
You're just staying in the pain.
Just staying in the
Doing
pain.
all of the things that you think should get you out of the mud, spinning the wheels fast as you can, and all it's doing is going deeper into the pain.
And and here's the challenge as well. Even when a man decides I love you, and they're like, man, I love you, I love you, I love you. Don't you see what they see? I'm out here working hard. I'm out here doing everything for you. I'm out here doing this for the family. What else do you want me to do? Because of how we expressing these external things, all of these external things, and we don't know how to go internal and help and be there for them internally. And that has been one of the biggest things, bro, that I've seen in men. And
I
here's
think you should say that again, bro. I think that's very important. Like you just said something, and it just it really resonated in my head. Like we'll say, "Don't you see all the stuff I'm doing?"
yeah.
But then just to reverse it and say, how many men have said, "Don't you see how I listen?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you see how I support?" We'll, like you said, we'll run. So yeah, I think you should say that and explain that to him again, and you can do deeper into that because that I think can answer. It's the answer. It's an answer in that. It's an answer in that question you're asking your woman. It's an answer in that.
We connect our doing and our love, our um all of that to all of the external things, to all of the things that we buy, the money that we bring, and like bring home the money. Like that's it. That's where our value is found. Just period. Most men find their value in being able to go work hard and provide from a monetary standpoint. While they're and while that is very important, yes, that is a part, but it's still incomplete. It's incomplete because, bro, there I know a lot of really rich people that is really poor in marriage.
Mm, mm,
And they have one side, but the conceptualization of I'm doing everything a man is supposed to do and have a wholehearted belief. Like, what more do you want me to do? And it's like, wow, you like totally oblivious to emotional support, totally oblivious to what they're actually desiring and saying, to feel heard, to feel a part of, to feel understood, to feel like just that they're emotionally, bro. And I could tell you with 1000% of certainty is that this is the reason I had a divorce. My divorce was because of this. I was not emotionally available, bro.
mm, That's the biggest, like you said, they skip over the biggest piece that connects two human beings, which is the emotion, and go right into the material world.
Yeah.
Forget about the world that is energy, which is the essence of who we are is energy. Energy and motion. The emotion. We skip right over the part of us that is the most real because the physical part we all know is not real.
See, but I hold on. You say that, you say that in assumption that everyone has your wisdom. Most people, and the odds are against us here, where most people believe that the physical is real.
It's who they are.
It
Right. Sure.
it is. So that
Right.
spiritual piece of, or the emotion energy piece, like they're totally oblivious, bro. Totally. And this was me 5 years ago, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Totally 100% oblivious to the spiritual realm, although I am a church person and I hear about the spiritual realm. I had no understanding. And honestly, I think most people don't. Even Christians who talk about spirituality have no idea, zero, of what they talk about. Let me not say that.
I know you're saying no. But clarify for them, but I understand you. But yeah,
It
clarify for them.
it's it's
Okay.
it is scratching the surface of
Mm-hmm.
what they're talking about. And brother, somebody some my mom called me earlier today
Mm-hmm.
and she was telling me she was talking to, I mean, this lady was a part of who raised me when I was a kid, right? And my mom was expressing to her the types of breakthroughs that she was having using our app with
Mm-hmm.
using Mio, Mine Insurance Oracle. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, yo, could I call Keston and talk to him? And I need that kind of transformation.
Right.
These are highly spiritual, me watching them preach when I was a kid kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's now circling back. And I mean, I say this super humbly, but the understanding of, I don't even want to say the true facts because I don't post to know everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the understanding, bro, is just a different level. And I don't think that you and I have conversations like this, but when
Mm-hmm.
other people are partaking of a conversation that we would have had in private,
Right.
there's a level of explanation that we can't leave it as general as everybody knows that the
I agree.
physical ain't real. Because
I agree. No, I agree. I agree that that's. I'm glad you stopped it there and put that point there because you're absolutely right. My assumption is that everybody has evolved to this point of knowing it. Even some people who say it don't really understand it.
yeah.
They'll just say it because it sounds like the new age thing to say to be wise, but really
Hmm.
don't have no understanding of what it means. But no, I agree. I'm glad you stopped that and we gave an explanation for that, so that nobody thinks that I'm just being woo.
Right.
What they call it. I give it woo science, right? We're talking about something that's real, that's proven, that's scientifically based at this point. Science proves it. It's nothing to really refute at this point. We are energy. We are 99% empty space. Scientific fact. Scientific fact at this point, right? We don't have to debate it at this point. We just empty space. So this energy that we are is all that we really are. Physical matter doesn't even really exist for us, right? But again, we won't go down that path. But
Bro,
one of the
I
that
think even to that, bro, accepting that is very hard when you're grown and
sure.
conditioned to think that just the
I'm this
opposite.
muscle, right? I'm this skin color, I'm this muscle, I'm this thing, right? Yeah, you identify everything you identify with is physical. I'm
And
this skin color, I'm this tall, I'm this height, I'm this look, I'm this hair, yeah, 100%. 100%.
bro, there's a there's a what do you call it? Last Saturday we met as men, a group of us met and was having conversation and we talked about brainwashing, right? And there's some good brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a video, maybe it might be 2 weeks at this point,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I was like, "Yo, bro, you gotta listen to this one." I don't know if you listened to it because we never circled back. Um,
Tell my mom, right?
huh? Miles.
Miles Monroe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I listened to it. The last one you sent me, I listened to it. I listened.
I've been brainwashing myself with that, bro. Every day. Every day. Because some of the conversation or the teaching has made me go do my own studies on it as well, like some of the things. And his articulation of us being gods, I thought was really powerful and almost irrefutable. It
It,
it it
it,
it really just lent to a wowing moment. And even though us having this conversation, I believe it intellectually based on the facts that he said, I'm trying to brainwash my subconscious in rewriting to believe it so that I could act like it and move like it. Because I think that most people think knowledge is knowing when learning is really the application of knowledge. And so, although I know it, I want to learn it by doing it and acting like it, right?
right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with living like the God inside of me, bro. That
That's
I
it.
know that I am, and just that.
Yeah, but I don't want you to skip over that right there. That one little sentence I've been saying to myself for probably the last 15 to 20 years. I know that I am. Now, because people have always said I am that I am. I know that I am what I am. Because if you don't know it, then just saying it becomes a lifeless sentence.
Yeah.
Because it becomes, like you said, you have the knowledge of it, you know, you have the awareness of you, but you don't know it instinctively. Like where it becomes a part of who you are and what you're being. Because then that is how it pronounces itself in the world as something that others can see because you know it. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I used to tell my son this all the time. They used to talk about the difference between believing and knowing. You believe in yourself? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. But do you know yourself? Because believing is a question, right? I
Mm-hmm.
believe there's a bathroom around the corner, sir. I believe the store is 2 blocks away. I know the store is 2 blocks away. I know there's a bathroom around the
It's
corner. There's a level
different.
of certainty,
It's different.
right? Totally different, brother.
There's
Totally different.
there's no dispute of the absolute difference in knowing and believing.
100%.
In knowing and
100%.
believing, and I think that that should be a topic for our next live because that's a whole new rabbit hole of just really another acceptance that would need to happen in just knowing who you are and really brainwashing yourself in that because I don't think that people accept the fact that you could learn something or know something and not apply it.
You know what reminds me of? Mother Goose, right? Walking around with the
Jeez.
book with all the wisdom in it, and never read the book and just walk around it. She has the stuff, right? She has it, but no application of the knowledge
Nah,
inside the book means she's as dumb as a box of rocks. And I'm
that's
not insinuating anybody's as dumb as a box of rocks, but we get the point. Like just knowing it and not applying it is not wisdom. It's
nah,
not understanding. It's just knowledge. You just have it. It's like having information that you don't use. It's just information. It's useless. You can have all the information. Which I have, a library of books. But if I not opened up one, what would they be other than paper with ink on it? Be worthless to me. It'd be worthless to anybody else who doesn't read it. And I
yeah,
think knowledge is the same way. We can have it. But I definitely think you're right. That needs to be a whole conversation because that's a whole conversation, man. It's a whole conversation. And I think it's a prerequisite. think knowledge of self or knowledge of who you are is a prerequisite for almost everything else that's going to come behind it. And knowing who you are has to start with. And I know we say it, and I hope. And again, I'm not mad at atheists. I believe everybody has the right to see things the way they see it. But I'm gonna tell you something, and I stand on this. You have to accept that there's something higher than yourself. Man. Got to. You got to. There's something higher than you. If you think that you are the epitome, the end all be all, what do you strive towards?
Yeah.
What do you uphold and live towards? If you are this broken vessel sometimes, if you are the epitome of man or the epitome of existence, of enlightenment, man, you set your standards so low. Set your standards so low if you don't believe this has to be something higher than you. Has to be. Has to be. I just pray that nobody receives that without offense, because I don't mean it in any offensive way. I really don't.
Bro, honestly, I think it's important to offend some people.
You could be absolutely right.
Bro, I think it's important because there's no behavioral change without conviction.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes conviction comes through offense, bro.
You're right. No, you're right. Sometimes, and it's not malicious.
It's not.
It's just
It's not.
right.
It's not.
Offense, right.
But I want you to take it personal. I want you to take everything personal.
100%. 100%. No, I agree.
I don't post for likes and for like, yo, I want you to read what I put and be convicted. Be like, this dude right here, bro. Dang. This dude always saying something that triggers me. Good.
Right.
Perfect.
Be convicted for or against. One or the other. Be convicted.
Something.
Right.
Go make a change. Go do something. Make a different path for your life.
Sure. Yeah,
I want you to be convicted, man, because people just they don't realize the pattern that they're in. Because most people think that they're in a cycle. They're in a season. Most people think they're in a season where a season changes, but they're really in a cycle. A cycle never ends.
That's a scary thought, bro.
I'm telling you, bro.
And I think, you know what? I think you should write that down. The difference between a season and a cycle. Because I don't think, I'm going to tell you right now, as you said it, most people, but then this is part of the pattern break. Till they break the pattern, they remain in the cycle.
They stay in a cycle, bro. Just
stay in a cycle, bro. And
on
they
repeat.
think they're going through a season, but you're not.
Nah.
It's just the seasons, because remember, every season, even though, let's just say you go into fall 3 times, no fall season will ever be exactly the same.
Never.
Never. You have a million of them. They'll never be the same. Ever.
Yeah.
Something to be different about. So they're thinking that they're going through something different through a new season, but in actuality, it's the same season.
Cycle. Yeah.
Because it's not the same season. It's the cycle. You're in the same cycle within that season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a heavy topic. We definitely got to build on that. But all right, bro, I got to shoot out. Again, as always, man, this is a blessing, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking about this for the next 2-3 days, you know? This is good. And I hope everybody else does as well, man. We don't have these conversations frivolously. We have these conversations with a pure heart, not trying to really expound no wisdom and sound wiser than others. Just talking how we talk. Like he said earlier, like the brother Keston said earlier, we just letting y'all in on conversations we'd have had anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have had this conversation regardless, and nobody would say we'd have had the same kind of conversation. So it's not in any way to impress or bring somebody in like we these wise men that's way wiser. We learning. And I would say more of anything, we are learning.
Learners.
Even in this conversation, I'm learning, right? We are eternal students of wisdom and higher thought. I'll never, ever say that I have reached a point where I no longer need to learn. Never. And only a fool would ever say that.
100%.
Only a fool would ever say that. So again, I appreciate everybody that's on this ride with us. And I know we mentioned Mio, and if you have any questions about what Mio is, the Mind Insurance Oracle, I'm going to say this, and not because it's ours, but because it is life changing. You should find out about it. And to those who are ready, you'll want to find out. I'm telling you, it's life changing. It's life changing. It'll break patterns that you didn't even know existed. And when I say that, I'm saying that literally. It'll break patterns that you did not know existed. Because there are patterns that you have that you do not know, because there's, like Keston said, 95% of what you do is subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
There are patterns that you're in that you do not know that you're in until they get identified. And what we've created to help you identify it and break it if you follow through. And at some point, you'll hear the testimonials. You'll see the people that it's helped internally. I just talking about business and not just talking about one aspect of life, but the 4 pillars that Keston speaks about, so many of his coaching calls and so many of his speaking engagements. You'll be able to see how it affects all 4 pillars. And, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So, again, we just thank you for driving this journey, man. Catch you guys, something you want to close out with?
Man, just grateful for the opportunity to be able to share, man. Now it's a matter of potential, just raising the bar, getting this in front of more people, man. So the journey has started. So let's just keep going and impact the world, bro. But we peacing out. So let's go.
Let's do it, brother. All right, brother. Holler in a minute, brother. Peace.
Peace.